be having her opening statement. Thereafter, all senators will have 5 minutes to do the first round. The good Senate President is hereby recognized.
Maraming salamat po, Chairman Tolentino, for opening a Blue Ribbon investigation on this unauthorized sugar importation order, which I brought up in my privileged speech last week. Since I gave that speech, the involved SRA officials have stepped down from their positions and given way for proper investigations this matter. I commend the quick action of the Office of the President on accepting the resignation. But of course, the deed has already been done, and we must get to the bottom of this fiasco. Why, Mr. President and my dear colleagues, why was the President, the concurrent head of the Department of Agriculture, not informed? And how was this released without his approval? Why attempt to import 300,000 metric tons of sugar at all when the SRA data, which I have with me, indicate that there is still a reserve of 127,000 metric tons of sugar in our warehouses, imported under sugar order number 3. And let me remind everyone, my dear colleagues, Mr. Chairman, that importation took place after 2 regional trial courts. And I know the good chairman is a stickler for rules and legalities. When 2 regional trial courts in Negros Occidental issued a temporary restraining order against sugar order number 3. And yet, they continued to import. The Sugar Regulatory Administration has time and time again defaulted to importation as a primary solution to our sugar problems and to the detriment of our almost 100,000 small and marginalized farmers. Not to mention the 800,000 laborers involved in the sugar production and almost 4 million dependents. So I hope that the SRA has answers to our pressing questions. The joke is, during the last administration of the department, it was no longer called the Department of Agriculture, but the Department of Importation. Kasi import na lang ng import. Pag may kulang sa isda, import. Kulang na manok, import. Imbis na tignan natin kung ano ba ang pangangailangan ng ating mga magsasaka para tulungan sila. Because food security is not only being able to have low-cost food available to the people, but it is also food self-sufficiency. Kasi kung nagkagera na sa buong mundo, hindi tayo maka-import, di gutom tayo. We are not self-sufficient in feeding our people. As I have always said, Mr. President, I'm not totally against importation, and I mentioned this in our speech. I understand that local sugar production has been hit hard by a 1, 2, 3 punch of a pandemic, rising costs of inputs, and natural disasters like Agapon and Odette that hit the Visayas recently. I know that we will need to import some sugar to meet the demand that local supply cannot cover. Tama po yan. Agree po tayo dyan. But we must not import more than what we need. We must not favor importation over local production. And we must not import through such underhanded, unauthorized means as what almost happened with sugar order number 4. Dapat matigil na po yung mga ganitong klaseng mga dealings of government officials and in government offices. We just came out from a very controversial investigation on PSDBM in all these purchases of PPEs and other equipment during the pandemic, and now even laptops that are defective. Thankfully, ladies and gentlemen, we have a president who believes in the need to temper importation and balance the interest of our farmers as well. Finally po. So, Mr. Chairman, I'm looking forward to the hearings, and as I mentioned earlier, I laud the efforts before I end my opening statement. We laud the efforts of the quick action of the Executive Secretary against the illegal SO4 order and continued problem solving on the sugar industry's woes and supply-demand issues. So, Mr. Chairman, I'm looking forward to hearing the facts behind this release order, taking the necessary action that it never happens again. Further, I hope that we can come out with these hearings with a better understanding on how to go about importation programs in a way that will not step on our local farmers. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chairman. Maraming salamat sa ating committee.
Thank you, Mr. Senate President. My apologies to some of our colleagues. I forgot to acknowledge the physical presence of Senator Rafi Tulfo. Sir, good morning and welcome. And likewise, Senator Cynthia Villar, virtually present. And likewise, Senator J.B. Ejercito. My apologies again. May we now request Senator Villar, the co-chair, to have her opening statement. But prior to that, may we have other witnesses present from the SRA? Is former Undersecretary Sebastian present? You can be seated. Before we administer your oath, we will have Senator Villar. Who else? Mr. Antes and Mr. C. What about Board Member Valderrama and Board Member Serafica? Are they around or are they virtually present? Kayo ba yun nasa baba? Na Valderrama. What about Mr. Serafica? Valderrama is present. I think Mr. Serafica is in the hospital. So,
Mr. Chair, good morning.
We will have first the opening statement of the chairperson of the Committee on Agriculture. Senator Villar, you're recognized. Ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to report on the Sugar Industry Development Fund, or law, which implementation should have prevented this problem. I want to inform the people that we passed RA 10659, or the Sugar Industry Development Act of 2015, an act promoting and supporting the competitiveness of the sugar industry and for other purpose. The purpose of which is to develop the competitiveness of the sugar industry, that means produce more sugar at a lower cost, enacted on April 15, 2015. Our SRA, or the Sugar Regulatory Administration, was given 2 billion per year to be spent for the following: 15% for grants to black farms under the Black Farm Program. Black farms are the organization of small farms of land reform beneficiaries for economies of scale. 15% for socialized credit under the Farm Support and Farm Mechanization Program, and farm inputs to be done by the Land Bank of the Philippines. 15% for research and development, capability building, and technology transfer activities under Research and Development, Extension Services, Human Resource Development, and Farm Support Programs, better signaling, better practices against disaster and climate change, training on farm school. I wish to inform you that as of today, since 2015, no single farm school for sugar was established. And 5% for scholarship grants to be provided to SUCs, to be provided by SUCs, ATI, and TESDA. And 50% for infrastructure support program, including farm-to-mill roads, irrigation, and ports. SRA failed to implement. The SRA budget was cut to 1.5 billion in 2017, 1 billion in 2018, and only 500 million in 2019. And I, as chairperson of the Committee on Agriculture and Food, led the Senate inquiry into the implementation of this Sugarcane Industry Development Act and raised alarm over the reduction of the SUIDA budget from 2 billion in 2016 to 500 million in 2019 due to the Sugar Regulatory Administration's failure to implement the law. I asked SRA Administrator Serafica to put in place reforms that will make sure sugar farmers will benefit from the programs under the law. This was covered by Senate Resolution 804, dated July 2018, and Senate Resolution number 14, dated July 29, 2019. I told SRA not to ever underspend because the DBM will cut your budget because you are not able to use it. And In the Sugar Regulatory Administration Annual Audit Report 2020 by COA, it was reported that out of the total fund transfer amounting to 547 million made by SRA to PITC for procurement of various equipment, only 245 million or 40% was utilized or liquidated as of December 31, 2020, leaving a balance of almost 300 million unspent. SRA Park with the Philippine International Trading Corporation, a trading firm under the Department of Trade and Industry, probably to make it appear that their funds had already been obligated. The procurement transaction by PITC for SRA that has been delayed as long as 2 years. We know very well that we investigated PITC as the parking lot of budget, which they don't intend to implement anyway. And so, from the time the MOA, anyway, so in addition to the SIDA law, the sugar industry can also benefit from ASEF. ASEF is ASEP is the law we passed in 2016, that is RA 1048, which is the Agricultural Competitiveness Enhancement Fund from agri-tariff collection other than rice, which will be implemented from 2016 to 2022. Under the law, 80% will be implemented by Land Bank for loan to production, post-harvest, and processing facilities, with 5 million maximum for co-op and 1 million maximum for individuals. And 10% will go to SUCs for research and development, commercialization, and establishment of research facilities, and 10% to CHET for scholarship for agriculture, forestry, fisheries, and veterinary medicine. So, why is the SRA so efficient about importation when they are very inefficient in the implementation of the Sugar Industry Development Act of 2015 and not using the Agriculture Competitiveness Enhancement Fund to help the sugar farmers? And in addition, the report of inventory and shortage from SRA is very difficult to understand. So I think it is being manipulated to allow importation. We should be able, after this hearing, to fix how we will do the inventory control of sugar, so we will be able to control the importation of sugar, because based on what they submitted to us, the shortage in raw sugar is only 20,000 metric tons, and we have imported 200,000 metric tons before. So why is there a shortage of sugar? Yun lang po, Mr. Chairman, and I hope this knowledge will help us solve our problem.
Mr. Chairman.
Senator Ontiveros, recognized. With the indulgence of Senator Villar.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Mr. Chairman. I thought that the good
Senator Villar
co-chair
still has the floor.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. I thought that the good co-chair had finished with her opening statement. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Villar.
Mr. Chairman, I'm finished. I'm finished. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator
Mr.
Villar.
Chairman.
We'd like to acknowledge first the physical presence of Senator Robin Padilla, as well as the virtual presence of Senator Amy Marcos and Senator Bong Revilla. Senator Ontiveros.
Thank you.
recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And with the indulgence of the chair, thank you, Mr. Chair, for allowing me also to make a few remarks this morning. Like you, Mr. Chair, and like the Senate President, it is my wish that we get to the bottom of this important issue. Importation is always a complex and politically fraught issue. How do we protect our local sugar producers, already struggling with the high prices of urea dahil sa gera sa Ukraine? while keeping the price of sugar accessible for ordinary consumers. Pero bago po natin himayin ang mga nagtutunggaling mga isyong ito, kailangan ulit nating tanungin, ano ba ang nangyari at sumabog itong fiasco, tawag nga ni ES? Are there crossed lines among Malacanang, the DA, and the SRA board? Una, sinasabi ng Malacanang na illegal ang SO4. It was called illegal because it was issued beyond the authority of the entity that issued it. Wala daw authority si dating Yusek Sebastian. But is that true? How can it be illegal when it was the executive secretary himself who issued a memorandum dated 15th July 2022 authorizing former Yusek Sebastian to sit as ex officio chairman or member of all duly constituted committees, councils, boards, or bodies where the DA secretary is a member. Sa nasabing memo, he has the authority to sign administrative issuances. Sabi ni dating Yusek Sebastian, he may have misread the intent of the president. But it is part of presidential prerogatives to supervise and, if needed, override the exercise of delegated powers. Kaya ang tanong ko, bakit hinayaang pumalaot ang SO4? Why was it not immediately brought to the attention of the president by the executive secretary that there was a new sugar order meant to bring in 300,000 metric tons of sugar? Nag-meeting na pala sila ng August 4 and the intent to import was already clear then. Sabi ni Sec. Trixie Angeles, wala daw alam si ES sa sugar order number 4. Ang sabi pa nila, nung nalaman daw ni ES yung SO4, pinagbigay alam nila sa Pangulo at di umano naggalit ang Pangulo. But a different version of events has surfaced in various news reports and citizen vlogs. As early as August 5, 2022, a draft of the sugar order number 4 was already submitted to former SRA Administrator Leo Sebastian. In the afternoon of August 5, the DA-OSEC already wrote to the ES and sent him the said draft. At ito yung inamin ni ES kanina. Sent him the said draft as well as a memorandum for the president. Ibig sabihin po, alam ni ES na may umiikot na draft order. An order that received support from stakeholders of the sugar industry. Did he mention this at all to his principal? Di ba dapat ang ES pinoprotektahan ang principal, ang Pangulo? Di ba dapat ang ES gatekeeper? Sa totoo lang, this could have been a simple policy debate on the sterile question of, do we need more sugar? Pero bakit may packaging na niloloko ang Pangulo? Bakit pinapalabas na may paglilinlang? Why suggest na first time nyo nadinig na may sugar order number 4 when you were informed and kept in the loop as early as August 5? Panghuli, what did the ES think of the 100,000 metric tons standby stocks requested by the SRA to be imported by PITC? They knew this was a proposal. Was this acted upon? Was this to counter the hoarders? Mr. Chair, this only drives home the point na kailangan na talaga natin ng maayos na liderato sa DA. I hope this is not a portent of things to come. Maglalabas ng order, iaatras ang order, ide-deny na sangkot sa order. Nobody is helped by disorganized leadership. Not industry, not the traders, not the producers, and certainly not the consumers. This was not only about one man misinterpreting intent and acting outside powers. Ultimately, this is the fallout of a messy, haphazard bureaucracy. Huwag na natin i-minimize ang damage na nagawa nito. So Mr. Chair, on that note, ang dami ko pong gustong tanungin kay ES, and while I do appreciate the fact that he faced the Blue Ribbon Committee, sa tingin ko po ay dapat pa nilang sagutin ang ilang mga nakabinbin pang katanungan. So joining with the manifestation earlier of the minority leader, I respectfully move, Mr. Chair, to recall the good ES to answer questions before this body. I so move, Mr. Chair. Salamat, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Ontiveros, but I think we will have to decide that as a group and as laid down by the chair. The rules would be this. We thank the good senator. First, we will have the opening statement of the chair, the co-chair, and thereafter the members of the committee, if that is part of your opening statement, that has been placed on record. And to have an orderliness in these proceedings, we will have under oath the witnesses present here, and those physically present senators will be given the chance to ask questions. Thereafter, those virtually present will be given the chance to propound questions on a 5-minute time frame. For the second round, the same, until after we have established all the necessary facts, which we will post in the screen in the succeeding hearings. For instance, if we have established the illegality of SO4, tapos na yon. Pasok naman tayo dun sa ibang issue. If we have established the unauthorized signatures made by Yusek Sebastian, tapos na yon. We will do away with cumulative evidence para mapabilis po tayo. So we, with all due respect to Senator Ontiveros, we will before the end of this proceedings today, we will decide on whether to recall the good executive secretary. As directed, the COMSEC should provide us before the end of the day the transcripts para mabasa na ng lahat. So para makita na yung pangangailangang sagutin ni executive secretary. If the good sponsor of that motion is willing, we will proceed ahead. Or is that motion still on the table?
It is still on the table, Mr.
Who
Chair.
is? Senator De La Rosa.
Yeah, I second the motion of the Assistant Minority Leader, Mr. Chair.
The motion is whether we should recall the executive secretary. In the
Yes,
next hearing.
Mr. Chair, on his available time. Second meeting.
On the
maybe.
next meeting. On the next meeting. What about Senator Estrada?
As long as he's not busy with his work as an executive secretary, I welcome his presence.
Mr. Chair.
Even without reading first the transcript, of course, which you have heard a while ago, the testimony of ES Rodriguez. What about?
Point of order, Mr.
Yes,
Chair, if
yes.
I may. This representation made a motion.
Yes.
It was duly seconded
Yes,
by the Vice Chair
The
of the
chair
Blue
is
Ribbon Committee.
clarifying
Thank you,
before
Mr. Chair.
The matter as to the requirement that ES should be recalled. So, are there objections coming from the other senators duly seconded? The Senate President is in agreement? Without objection, the Blue Ribbon Committee will require the presence of the Executive Secretary during the next hearing.
And
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
May we na, Senator De La Rosa?
yes, Mr. Chair.
Is that an amendment?
No, Mr. Chair, another, I would like to, I would like to move for the physical presence of former SRA
Yes.
Administrator, Terrafica,
We
Mr. Chair.
Before, if you can hold on to your motion, we will again restate the rules of these proceedings. One, all the senators physically present can ask questions direct to the witnesses present here, the resource persons. Thereafter, those virtually present. Those physically present are here, the SRA members, and there is a motion here coming from Senator De La Rosa to require the presence of former board member Serafica, SRA Administrator Serafica, who I believe is online. Administrator Serapika, are you still online?
Yes, Mr. Chair, good morning. I'm online.
Okay, ito yung tanong ni Senator De La Rosa. Sa House, uma-attend ka. Bakit sa Senate ayaw mo umattend? May time
Mr.
pa.
Chair.
Saan po kayo umuwi? Saan po kayo umuwi?
Sa Paranaque po, Mr. Chair, hindi ko
Malapit
talaga
lang.
na-comply yung revised
We can
health
have the
protocol,
Parañaque Police
Mr.
escort
Chair.
you here. So are you willing to attend today's hearing para matapos na ho ito doon sa parte nyo? Kasi mahirap po yung sa nasa online kayo, yung mga former colleagues nyo nandito physically present, at sa House po umattend kayo.
Can we show his face? Saan ba yung mukha niya? Ba't nakikita mukha niya?
Can you wave, Mr. Serapika? Kumaway kayo. Naka-off po kayo.
Hindi natin alam, baka hindi naman siya yan.
Naka-off po kayo. Nasaan po
I
kayo?
am not allowed. Can I be allowed to show my video, Mr.
Yes,
Chair?
yes. We are waiting for your face.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I got stuck in the traffic lights last night from the House, and I could not comply the revised health protocol of the Senate, Mr. Chair.
No, we will conduct an antigen test for you. Just punta ka na lang dito.
Senator Estrada is willing to assist you in having an antigen test. And there is a motion here coming from Senator De La Rosa to require your physical presence before the end of the day. Are you willing to do
shall-
that? Is there a
I shall
second?
comply, Mr. Chair.
Second the motion.
Duly seconded. So the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee directs you to proceed to the second floor of the Senate premises now, since you are just still in Parañaque, which is just a few minutes away. Can you do that?
I will do that, Mr. Chair.
So we expect you to be here before 12 o'clock, Mr. Serapika, and we can dispense with your virtual presence right now. The good committee secretary, can you administer the oath of those present here physically? The General Counsel, sino yung mga nandito? Can you all rise and raise your right hands?
Can you please raise your right hand? Do you swear and affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this proceeding? Thank you.
Thank you. My dear colleagues, present here are former officials of the SRA, some members of the private sector. We have provided you with copies of their sworn statements. And in the order of questioning, I forgot to recognize Senator Angara, Senator Bongo. In the order of questioning, the first to us to take the crack would be Senator De La Rosa. And the persons to be asked would be Yusek Sebastian, Dr. Robin C., Mr. Antes, and if Mr. Attorney Beltran is present, can you wave, sir? Are you around physically? He's the one in the hospital. So the persons I mentioned a while ago will be subject to questioning from the Blue Ribbon Committee members. First to take a crack is Senator De La Rosa. You have 5 minutes, sir, before we suspend.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Yusek Sebastian.
Morning, Mr. Senator.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming. And first of all, ako, sabihin ko lang sa iyo, I have no doubt about you. Alam kong nag-research muna ako about you, and I found out na you have a very good track record, service track record. But since you are involved in this fiasco, you have to answer my questions. Is it all right with you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, based doon sa sinabi kanina ni Executive Secretary, lahat ng text mo sa kanya regarding na nagpa-follow up ka about this, yung sugar order number 4, ay wala siyang sagot sa mga text mo. Is that true?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay. So wala siyang sagot. Now, sinabi niya na ang sagot mo daw sa kanya at saka si Rapica ay akala ninyo na okay na kay Presidente. Is it true?
That's correct, Your Honor.
That's correct. Ilang taon ka na bang Yusik dyan sa agriculture, Sir Sebastian?
March to the present, Your Honor.
So bago lang.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so alam mo, sa amin, no, sa pulis at sa military, maraming namamatay sa maling akala. Pag nag-assume ka nag-assume, ay talagang lives are at stake. Pwedeng mamamatay ka sa gira pag nag-assume ka na nag-assume. So, alam niyo yung ginawa niyong assumption is parang ako, kung ako ordinaryong tao, I cannot accept that reason. Kung na sabi niyo, napirmahan mo yung sugar order number 4 in behalf of the President or for and in behalf of the President being the Secretary of Agriculture, napirmahan mo yan dahil sa maling akala. Parang hindi ko matanggap-tanggap yung rason na yan. Meron pa bang mas malaking rason dyan? Aside sa maling akala. People are wondering, people are speculating na meron pang mas mabigat na rason siguro yan. Bakit mo pinirmahan? Hindi lang sa maling akala. Ako, I don't buy that justification. Forgive me for my frankness. Maling akala. I will not buy that explanation. Please give me more satisfying explanation.
Your Honor, I actually have prepared a statement, but it will not allow me to read.
With the permission of
submit
Senator
it.
De La Rosa, is your statement different from your submitted sworn statement?
It summarizes, Your Honor.
It
And,
summarizes your
and
sworn
this-
statement.
And it put into context the decision, how we arrived on SO4.
Kasi binigyan niyo po kami ng affidavit niyo.
That's correct, Your
So
Honor.
there is now a second affidavit.
No, this is not. This is more of a statement summarizing more or less,
No,
and
but
putting into context.
That will be converted into a sworn statement because you are under oath right now.
Okay, that's all. That's all.
So
right,
what's the
Your Honor.
difference between the first affidavit and your second statement?
It only put it into context, Your Honor, the decision, because the affidavit is more of a narrative, Your Honor, of events.
So it supplements.
It supplements, Your Honor.
Yes, Mr. Chair, but before he
And
delivers
let me,
his
to
opening
answer.
statement, I just would like to get an answer,
Yes, Your
instant answer from my question.
The instant answer, Your Honor, is that starting July or even earlier than that, we are already seeing the rise of price of sugar and also the diminishing supply of domestic sugar, Your Honor. And as an official of the Department of Agriculture, I am monitoring all these developments, and I'm very concerned that prices are going up. And just like in other commodities, prices are going up, and we in the department are being pressured also to do something, Your Honor. So we presented the briefer. We gave the president a briefer mid-July, Your Honor, already alerting of the diminishing supply of sugar and also the rising price of sugar, Your Honor. So SRA indicated in their data that we only have a supply of sugar of up to the end of August. So the private sector were also pushing for more supply of sugar. We have dialogue with them. We consulted the millers, the refiners, and the planters, and they were all unanimous in proposing that we go into 300,000 importation, Your Honor. So these are all documented. The sugar order was not decided in one day. It went through a process of consultation and discussion with many stakeholders. We base it on data, Your Honor. And the pressure to come up with to come up to supplement the supply, local supply was really there, Your Honor. So if you can imagine, Your Honor, you've been you're given the authority. I was given the authority under a memorandum last July 15, 2022, which put me in a bind, Your Honor, because if I don't act, I could be reprimanded or something like that. But if I also act, that's also the risk, Your Honor. So I decided that based on that authority and having briefed the President on August 1, during our meeting in Malacanang, as indicated by the Honorable Executive Secretary, and also coming from feedback from the meeting of the Executive Secretary with Administrator Sarapica, Board Member Valderrama, and also the President on August 4, wherein Administrator Sarapica was directed by the President to submit a sugar order, a sugar importation program, which he communicated to me, Your Honor, on August 5, which the Executive Secretary also admitted that it was sent to him directly by Administrator Sarapica, and which I also communicated through memorandum to the President, and then with subsequent follow-up, but getting no reply, and considering the urgency of the situation on sugar, which we now feel, Your Honor, because you see, Your Honor, even if we approve sugar order number 4, now it will take us at least 1 month before the supply will arrive at the earliest, Your Honor. So all those situations, Your Honor.
Yusek, I think you're now lecturing Senator De La Rosa. Tinatanong lang niya yes or no, and then thereafter you proceed with your supplemental affidavit. Para ano tayo, concise.
Yes.
Maliligaw tayo nito,
As me.
maliligaw tayo.
Yes,
Yes,
I would
Your
like to restate my question, Yusek, no? Sabi mo, authorized ka, pumirma. Therefore, kina-counter mo yung... but before I ipagpatuloy ko yun, I would like to express my appreciation sa yung ginawa that you voluntarily resign from your post. That was a very gentlemanly act coming from you. But just to get to the bottom of this, please answer my question. Parang lumalabas sa sinasabi mo na you are authorized. Therefore, you are contradicting the statement of Malacanang that sugar order number 4 is illegal. You are not authorized to sign according to them.
As per the July 15, 2022 memorandum from the Executive Secretary, as authorized by the President, Your Honor, it is very clear, if I may read, and I think that was also cited by the Honorable Risa Ontiveros.
Yusek, no need for that. We have
Yeah.
copies of that. That
So,
has been all
that-
over. Yes
that
or
is
no yung tanong, and then
yes.
thereafter yung supplemental affidavit mo na meron kang gustong i-clarify.
That is the basis of my signing, Your Honor.
So you mean to say you have the authority to sign sugar order number 4? Yes or no?
With good conscience, Your Honor, that was my basis in signing. Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
I think Senator De La Rosa, your 5 minutes is now 10 minutes. Senator Estrada will...
I think my 5 minutes, Your Honor, was, Mr. Chairman, is for questioning, not including the answer. The answer was very long. Can I be given...
you are arguing with me.
sorry,
I will.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman.
I will.
I just would like to yield to Senator Jingo Estrada.
Yes. Thank you.
Just a follow-up question in relation to the kind of questioning of Senator De La Rosa. Mr. Sebastian, did you talk or approach the President before you signed SO number 4?
I did not have that chance, Your Honor.
Did you not even call him or make an appointment with the President before you signed SO4? because I have this document SO number 4. You signed, your signature appears, you signed in, above the name of the president.
I signed for the Secretary of Agriculture, Your Honor, who is
Yes.
also the chair of SRA.
You signed in behalf of the Secretary of Agriculture, which is the president himself. Am I correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Why did you not ask permission from the president?
I base it on the authority that was given to me in good faith, Your Honor.
Authority given to you by whom?
By that memo on July 15,
By the executive secretary?
2022.
By the
By
executive
the executive
secretary?
secretary as authorized by the president.
Yes. Did you
Your Honor.
talk to the executive secretary before signing this in behalf of the president?
I sent the memorandum on August 5, Your Honor, and as also mentioned by the executive secretary, I texted him on a Sunday of that the following Sunday.
So he did not reply. Am I correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
He did not reply, but you still signed it
In my
without
affidavit,
any permission coming from the president himself.
that is correct, Your Honor. In my affidavit,
You
I
shouldn't have
stated-
signed the
Your
SO
Honor.
number 4 without without the approval of the president.
There is also in that memorandum, Your Honor, that whatever I do can be considered regular unless disapproved or approbated by the President, Your Honor. And that is exactly what the President did when I informed him personally on August 10, 2022, Your Honor, when I reported to him that we have approved the 300,000 metric tons importation for sugar, and he disapproved that my action, Your Honor, and also the importation. So I immediately conveyed that to Administrator Sarapica, and Administrator Sarapica also did revoke or remove the publication of that special order, sugar order number 4, Your Honor.
But I still believe that you should have asked for the clearance of the president, because your authority to act as chairman of the board emanated from the president. Am I correct?
I was acting in good faith and because of the urgency of the matter, Your Honor. But with full sense also, Your Honor, that it can be disapproved and reprobated by the President.
Senator Estrada, with just a 1 minute direction from the chair. Will the good committee secretary provide all the 5 members in this elevated platform, the thick folders? Because I see now a lot of staff members are having that thick folders that should be provided to the members of this committee. Dapat bigyan din kami rito. Ito yung tinatanong ni Senator Estrada, wala kaming kopya. Can you provide us with 5 more copies here, including the Senate President? Yung mga senator sa baba, bigyan nyo rin. Pero kami, walang kopya dito. Senator Estrada, you still have the floor.
I'm done, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Estrada. So,
Mr. Chair?
Yes, I will again reiterate the firing order. After Senator De La Rosa, the Senate President will be propounding a few questions directed to Yusek Sebastian. Thereafter, it's the turn of Senator Estrada. Tapos na si not yet. That was just an interjection. And then we go to Senator Tulfo, and then Senator Robin Padilla, and the Minority Leader. Will that suffice the impending query of Senator Hontiveros, or
Mr. Chair, when will this representation be able to propound questions?
after the Senate President? That's the second
Thank you,
round that
Mr.
I
Chair.
mentioned. So ulitin ko po, Senator De La Rosa, are you done? So may we recognize now the Senate President.
Maraming salamat po, our dear Chairperson, Senator Tolentino. We are conducting this hearing to see if we have any malfeasance, usurpation of authority, or what have you, illegal acts identified under the Graft and Corrupt Practices Law, Mr. Chairman. particularly on this issue on SO4. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to, first of all, the onset of my statement, say that Yusek Sebastian is a well-respected member of the agri community. I just came from Los Baños celebrating the 100 years of UP Ranchers Club. Ako po ay member ng rodeo team dyan. At lahat ng kausap ko po doon, kaibigan niya po, si Yusek Sebastian, has nothing but high praise for the gentleman. So I feel that the conduct of the USEC on this particular issue was not his and his alone. That's why my question, Your Honors, is sino po talaga umudyok sa'yo na kailangan po natin mag-import? I mean, you're new to the industry, Your Honor. You're new to the department. Am I correct? You're less than 1 year in the department? You're just a few months old, no? Is that correct, USEC?
Your Honor, I've been with the Department of Agriculture. You remember, Your Honor, I was executive director of the Philippine Rice Research Institute, and you visited one
Yeah.
time.
Okay,
your rice.
because I only have 5 minutes before my chairman might.
I
cut
just
me off.
rejoined. I
You
just
are the Senate
rejoined.
President. You have the
I rejoined in 2021, Your Honor, the government service after working abroad, Your Honor.
Yes, so you're not a newcomer when it comes to helping the agri sector. And actually, we welcomed your appointment at the time when you were newly appointed once again as a member of the Department of Agriculture. However, Your Honor, you're new to the industry. I believe you're more of a livestock, poultry,
Rice, Your
and
Honor.
rice.
Rice.
That's correct. So you're new to the sugar industry. So there must have been external factors to convince you to import this or to sign sugar importation order. Was it the administrator, his co-administrator, his members of the board, who somebody had to convince you? You cannot just sign the order without them showing you the data, particularly on the lack of sugar supply. Am I correct in saying that it was the administrator and the board, or who in the board convinced you about this sugar order number 4?
Your Honor, you mentioned that I work in the agriculture sector and the R&D specifically, and I'm very, for me, Your Honor, data is very important for me in making decision. So I studied the data that was presented to me by SRA. We also did our own data analysis in the Department of Agriculture, and it convinced me, Your Honor, because I always make my decision also based on those things, that there is really a big problem when it comes to the supply of sugar, that we have to act or do something, Your Honor.
Okay,
So,
Yusek, you're saying that you're utilizing the data. I
data-
have with me here this document coming from the SRA insiders themselves. The data is very clear. I do not know if they hid this from you. I do not know if you're familiar. The data is very clear. Under the former sugar order number 3, which they imported, allowed the importation of 200,000 metric tons, there is still a balance of almost 126,000 metric tons that have not been released. This is as of August 12, that have not been released yet. So what shortage are we talking about? Di nga nare-release itong asukal na ito. And if I may be allowed, may we ask the nandiyan na, ready na ba yung aking tao? Papakita ko lang sa inyo yung bodega na parang mga dagat ng asukal. It's just a sea of sugar that have been apprehended in the last few days in bodegas all over the country. Please go ahead, Jess. Pakita mo. Yan. Asukal yan. Dahan-dahan lang. Yan, galing sa container. Ayan pa. Yan, parang dagat ng asukal. Sea of sugar. These are container vans. They have sugar hidden in them. Ayan, Sec. That's not made up. I'm not making this up. That was from the BOC. ISAP, the last few days. Different bodegas from Quezon City, Laguna, Bulacan, Pampanga. Sige, may video pa. Saan ba yung video? Gusto mo pakita pa namin yung video? Is this a shortage? Is this the shortage that you're saying? Your honors in the DA. Ayan. Ano yan? Are we pretending that that's not in existence? Is that being hoarded for price manipulation? Oh, let's show the video, if I may be allowed by my dear colleagues. 1 minute lang yun. Just can we show the video I sent you, if it is ready? Pinasukan nila. Meron pang ano, Mr. Chairman, meron pang mga makina na ililipat nila from imported sugar to locally manufactured sugar para to escape the taxes. Importation taxes, pati yung VAT payment ng VAT, kasi syempre yung local sugar, may preferential treatment yun. VAT exempt. Diyos ko po, Your Honors. So you're talking about data, Your Honor. This is the data I have from the SRA. Meron pang asukal na naiwan sa bodega. Meron pang parating na almost 30,000 metric tons. Tapos meron tayong laman sa bodega, USEC. How can you explain that? So what shortage are we talking about? That's why I'm saying, USEC, no, I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt. Kasi nga, you're new to the industry. I am asking you now, sino talaga ang nag-push sa'yo, nagsabi sa'yo, USEC, we need to do this? Was it the butlers? Was it the stakeholders? Was it one of those individuals in the SRA? Was it a particular importer? Or was it just your own decision? Because I can't believe it was just your own decision, Your Honor, because again, you're a stickler for data. I have the data right here, which contradicts what you said. I have the pictures of the toneladang 100,000+ metric tons of sugar in the bodegas. So, what is it, you say?
Your Honor, you mentioned we have 123,000 metric tons. Our monthly consumption for raw sugar, Your Honor, is 170,000 metric tons per month, and approximately 85,000 metric tons per month for refined sugar, Your Honor. So 123 can last for how many days, Your Honor? And based from the data that we have, SRA and DA, Your Honor, we will need about 212,000. We will have a deficit of 212,000 metric tons for raw sugar, Your Honor, even if the milling has started in September and October. It is only in November that we will be able to produce enough raw sugar to meet our demand. For refined sugar, Your Honor, we have a deficit, including, for example, including the SO number 3, Your Honor, because of the demand that we have. We have a deficit of about 319,000 metric tons, Your Honor, up to December, because we don't produce enough refined sugar. So, Your Honor, if you see those data, it is very compelling, Your Honor, that, and if you look at the prices, Your Honor, prices do not just go up because of hoarding. There is hoarding when there is a tight supply, Your Honor. And there is smuggling also, Your Honor, if there is a
Your
tight
Honor,
supply, Your Honor.
Mr. Chairman, precisely the hoarding is the price manipulation. You're saying there's a tight supply, but we have supply. Yan ang mahirap sa DA po. I'm with due respect to my dear friends in the DA. With due respect, I'm an agriculturist by education and by profession. Kaya mahal ko kayo. Pero parang business as usual, hindi na wawala yung hoarding. Frustration po namin ni Senator Villar, wala pong nakakasuhan pa sa illegal smuggling at hoarding. Hanggang na yun, wala naman tayo nakikita. Pero yan, nakita na po natin. They're shouting supply. Release that sugar. Hindi naman yan gumagalaw eh. Now, my point, Your Honor, according to the industry, because I'm also part of the industry, Bukidnon is the second largest, by the way, Your Honor, Bukidnon is the second largest producer of sugar next to Negros Occidental. So maraming apektadong magsasaka pag bumagsak ang presyo ng asukal dahil sa sobrang importation. Kaya, ang sabi ng mga stakeholders, and we visited the president the other day, complete po yan, Unifed, Panay-Fed, Luzon Fed, they were all there, the federations, that if there will be a need to import, you're only looking at less than 150,000, 100 to 150,000. Why? Nag-umpisa na po ang Negros Occidental ng milling. So mangyayari, pagpasok nito ng October ng 300,000 metric tons as your plan under SO4, nagka-milling na, nagka-letse-letse na dahil meron na tayong local production, Meron tayong napakaraming imported rice at sugar from Thailand. Bagsak na bagsak ang presyo. Ang kawawa dyan ang mga magsasaka. I believe you were misinformed on the amount because I was told that they were not, the stakeholders were not informed. I do not, that is the problem, Your Honor, Mr. Chairman, when you say, oh, we had notified the stakeholders. Sino-sino yun? Dalawang tao? Tatlong tao? May Sugar Alliance eh. Hindi po kayo nagtawag ng Sugar Alliance meeting. And correct me if I'm wrong, the deputy administrators were not consulted about SO number 4 until it was signed, until it was prepared and pushed. Are the deputy administrators here? There. Can you please come to the with the permission, of course, of our chairman, and please confirm that you were not informed about SO number 4, deputy
With the
administrators.
indulgence of Senate President, may we inquire from the committee secretary if the gentleman approaching the middle area has been sworn and not yet? Attorney, can you administer the oath?
Yes, Your Honor.
Deputy Administrator. Please proceed.
Can you please raise your right hand, sir? Do you swear and affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this proceeding?
Yes, sir. Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Please be seated. Mr. Senate President, you may proceed.
Thank you, and thank you for allowing me to extend my time, Your Honor. This is very important, as I have pertinent details of what had transpired, and I'd like to share it with this committee. While awaiting SRA Administrator Serafika, we will just like to put on record and ask the deputy administrators. I was told by insiders that you were not informed about this plan on SO4, Sugar Order number 4, until after it was consummated, which is not part of protocol. I believe it is management first who comes out with the recommendation to the SRA administrator and the board, and after which it is duly approved. Is that correct, Your Honor?
I affirm and confirm that I, the Deputy Administrator for Regulation Department, along with the two other Deputy Administrators, one for the Admin and Finance and the other for Research and Development and Extension, as well as the Legal Manager who is in front of me, and the other managers of the Sugar Regulatory Administrators administration have not been consulted on this SO3.
Mr. Senate
Your Honor.
President, can you identify the personalities you mentioned, the person in front of you who failed to inform you? Pwede mong banggitin yung pangalan? Hindi ka in-inform, no?
The Sugar Board did not communicate with us, Your Honor, as far as the crafting and the issuance of Sugar Order number 4, Your Honors.
It's Sugar Order number 3, na-inform kayo dati.
We were part of the issuance and crafting and processing of the Sugar Order number 3, Your Honors.
Senate President, you have the witness.
So do you feel that it is not proper on Sugar Order number 4, what transpired, that it was not proper procedure? Dapat nasabihan dapat kayo para makabigay naman po kayo ng opinion ninyo kasi kayo ang nasa regulation, kayo ang nasa legal, yung mga deputy administrators.
According to our SRA governance manual for under the GCG rules, Your Honor, the management is defined as the administrator, as composed of the administrator, the Sugar Board, and all managers, Your Honor. And as by good practice in our quality management system, would require that all endorsements before the Sugar Board's approval must pass through and be routed to all the managers and the deputy administrators prior to endorsement officially to the Sugar Board, Your Honors.
So you confirm this is not proper protocol?
This is not in accordance with our rules, therefore it's not proper protocol, Your Honor.
Nagulat po kayo nung nangyari po ito? Ano ang sentimento ng ating mga deputy administrators at the time?
Well, all of us we were not surprised that there was a brewing attempt to, efforts to have an SO4, but we did not know about it officially, Your Honors.
Senate President, if
Yes,
I may
sir. Please,
add another
Your Honor.
question. Can I have your name again? Medyo malayo kasi.
Attorney Guillermo Tejeda III, Your Honor.
Are you aware of any board resolution? Are you aware of any management action authorizing a certain Administrator Serafica to act for and in behalf of the board?
We are not aware, and I am not personally aware of that, Your Honor.
Sebastian, meron bang management action na pwedeng kumilos mag-isa si Mr. Serafica on behalf of the board? Mr. Sebastian.
Administrator Serapica acting on behalf of the board? No, Your Honor.
O walang ganon?
To my knowledge, Your Honor, there's no such thing.
Paano mamaya kung mapatunayan kung meron ganon?
I'm not aware of that, Your Honor. I'm new to the board also. You see, I was only designated July 15, 2022, Your Honor. So
Give me some time and I will provide the contrary. Go ahead, Mr. President.
Yes, Mr. President, my dear chairperson, I would just withhold further questions until former SRA Administrator Serafica arrives, because my questions will be, of course, asked and propounded to him. And I think I'd just like to thank the Deputy Administrators for your candor and truthfulness in the issue. And also to Yusek Sebastian. Yusek, marami kang kaibigan sa agriculture industry. First of all, I salute you for taking responsibility and resigning right away with your irrevocable resignation. Pero sana, let's clear this mess up. We come to the bottom of all of this and come up with the truth on who really pushed for this, which organization, which group, which individual, and if there's a violation of law with this SO number 4. Sayang lang po, I would have hoped that, we had practiced better judgment at we could have used you in the department. But nevertheless, without fear or favor, this committee has to find out the truth. So yun lang po, Mr. Chairman, I'll just wait the arrival of former SRA Administrator Serafica.
Thank you, Mr. Senate President. And for the record and for the information of my other colleagues here, present here physically are representatives coming from Coca-Cola Philippines, Attorney Tanyada, and likewise present is the President of the Philippine Food Processors and Exporters Association. Can you raise your hand para makilala kayo? And then we have another person in attendance, Mr. John Paul Antes, Senior Sugar Production Regulation Officers. And considering that you have your tick folders in front of you, you are allowed to shoot questions on any of the personalities I mentioned a while ago. The representative of the minority leader is recognized. Senator Hontiveros, Your Honor, you have 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr.
have, 4
Chairman.
minutes now and 59 seconds.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wouldn't presume to represent the minority leader. I do have some questions sana po para kay ES, pero i-reserve ko na lang po kapag nakabalik na sila sa isang susunod na hearing. So my follow-up questions for today, Mr. Chair, will be for former Yusek Sebastian. Yusek, nung pong pulong nung August 4, 2022, nung binanggit yung panukala na mag-import ng 300,000 metric tons, ano po yung sinabi or sinagot ni ES?
Your Honor, I was not present in that meeting on August 4, 2022. It was only reported to me later by Administrator Serafica.
Ano pong inulat sa inyo ni Administrator Serafica? Kung anong sinabi or sinagot ni ES dun sa proposal na yon?
No details, Your Honor. The only, in my affidavit, Your Honor, I was only informed that they have a meeting. On August 4, Your Honor, I was called by ES Rodriguez to inform Administrator Serafica to proceed to Malacanang. And after that, Your Honor, I was informed by Administrator Serafica that they have a meeting together with ES and through Zoom with the President and the then newly appointed board member Valderrama. No other details, Your Honor, was given to me, except the following day when I was sent an email by Administrator Serafica that he was called to Malacanang August 4, and ordered by the president to submit a sugar order program, a sugar importation program, Your Honor, which he transmitted to me during that day, Your Honor. And again, it was also the basis of my writing a memo to the president, Your Honor. I think it's in my affidavit, Your Honor, the details.
So we can conclude, former Yusek, na sa pagitan ng 2 araw na iyon, August 4 hanggang August 5, kung kailangan idinirect kayo na mag-submit ng sugar importation plan, at the very least, live pa yung proposal na mag-import ng 300,000 metric tons. Hindi pa po na disapprove at that point in time. Yung eventually pumaloob sa SO4.
The 300,000, Your Honor, has been circulating already for some time, Your Honor, because
Right?
there was a stakeholder consultation on July 29,
Mhm.
and then they also made endorsement. These different stakeholders, they made endorsement on the amount, and more or less, I think if you review the different press releases that has been circulating in the industry, Your Honor.
Salamat, Yusek. Dun po sa lumabas na slide ni ES, yung isang slide nila, lumabas po yung memorandum kung saan may proposal, bukod pa po sa 300,000, ano po, may panukala mag-import ng dagdag pang 100 metric tons. So tama po ba na on top of the 300 or 100,000 metric tons rather? So tama po ba na on top of the 300,000 metric tons pa iyon, yung 100,000 metric tons additional? Tama po ba yon?
If approved by the President, Your Honor. that
Yes,
would be
if approved
additional.
by the President. So
But
proposal
let me-
nga po.
Let me
Yes.
clarify, Your Honor, that the 100,000 was a suggestion, Your Honor.
Mhm.
But PITC came back later that they can only handle 50,000, Your Honor.
50,000. Sige po. Pero nung ang suggestion ay 100,000 metric tons, ano yung justification noon? Why was the initial suggestion bago pinababa ng PITC sa 50,000 metric tons? Bakit po yung initial na mungkahi, dagdag sa 300,000 metric tons ay 100,000 metric tons?
Before finalizing the memorandum, Your Honor, I have a conversation with PITC. And it was suggested, Your Honor, that PITC would like a rolling stock, something like that, replenishable. But I told PITC that this is not possible because usually the memo will only be for a fixed volume. So I suggested that if we can increase it so that you can use that. But later on they came back, Your Honor. But I have already sent the memo, Your Honor, by the time. But the original recommendation of SRA, Your Honor, is also 50,000.
I see you, Sec. Yung namang pong mga bodega na nakikita natin, no? Yung 126 or 123,000 metric tons na yan mula sa Sugar Order 3, yun po ba ay pupunta sa end users? Ibig sabihin, ito ba yung mga ibebenta sa mga supermarket?
I don't have good knowledge of SO number 3, Your Honor, but from what I know, it's more for industrial users, Your Honor.
I see. And okay, so hindi ito yung mapupunta sa end users. Hindi po ito yung mabibili namin sa mga supermarket. Are you gesturing, Yusek, for another resource person to answer?
Yes, Your
I'll
Honor.
ask
I think
Mr.
Deputy
Chair?
Administrator Tijada, I think, has more knowledge on sugar order number 3, Your Honor.
Mr. Chair? Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You can answer, Deputy Administrator.
Yes, sir. Well, Your Honor, the 200,000 metric tons under sugar order number 3 is exclusively for the industrial users.
Mm.
All of the 200,000, Your Honor, metric tons.
So, pati po yung nakikita pa natin, Deputy Administrator, pati po yung nakikita natin sa mga bodega hanggang ngayon, yung 123 or 126,000 metric tons under SO3, industrial po ito, bound for industrial use.
Subject to verification, Madam. First off, in Subic, the 7,000 metric tons inspected and intercepted with the Bureau of Customs were already cleared by the Office of the Deputy Administrator on behalf of the SRA, that it is covered by pertinent clearance for release of imported goods. Those intercepted in Batangas were also covered. We already cleared that it is also covered by SO3 clearance. We are still verifying if those raided in Manila, the 3 warehouses, were part of SO3, but what we can confirm are that the owners of these 3 warehouses are registered under sugar order number 3. That in Pampanga, the raided warehouse, we already confirmed that it is not owned by an international trader nor a participant of SO3, and the warehouse is not also registered with SRA, which is a violation of our existing rules. And that in Pampanga, in Bulacan, the 49,000 or so, subject to verification by the Bureau of Customs, is locally sourced as per our initial investigation. And the owner is not a trader. The owner is also not a participant, therefore, of SO3. And the warehouse is also not registered with the SRA.
Salamat, Deputy Administrator. So, yung sa Batangas po, ilang libong metro tonelada yon?
Yes, Your Honor. As per my conversation this morning with our licensing and monitoring division of SRA, in Batangas would only be accounting for some 200,000 bags, Your Honor, and that
Which is
in
how many metric tons? Sorry.
times 20, Your Honor.
Okay.
Divide by 20.
Uh-huh.
So that's only 200,000 200,000 bags.
Bags.
50 kilo bag. That in Pampanga would only number around less than 200 imported sugar, but subject to verification.
Less than 200,000 bags.
No, in Pampanga, Your Honor, it's only 200 bags.
200 bags. Hindi ako ganun kabilis mag-multiply. Pero out of yung tinatanong ko pong 123,000 metric tons, yung 200,000, ano ba yun? Yung 7,000 metric tons sa Subic, sabi nyo, verified na for industrial yon under SO3. Tama po?
Yes.
And then,
yes po.
And then meron pa kayong 200,000 bags for verification sa Batangas. Meron kayo sa Manila, hindi nyo binigay yung amount. May 200 bags lamang sa Pampanga na not under SO3. May 49,000 bags sa Bulacan na hindi rin under SO3. So we can surmise na dun sa 123,000 metric tons na posibleng meron doon na bound for end users through the supermarkets, pero meron ding mula doon na for industrial use. Tama po ba?
Yes po, ma'am. What we can confirm is that all those verified to be under SO3 cannot be sold to the local market because SO3 mandates that it's only dedicated to the industrial users.
Yes.
If I may po, just an update.
With the indulgence of Senator Risa,
Yes, Mr. Chair.
You have less than 30 seconds to go. We recognize the arrival of Senator Amy Marcos. Please proceed for you can answer the last question, Yusek.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And then I have a brief manifestation after the Deputy Administrator. Yes, sir. Unless the former Yusek Sebastian, Mr. Chair, would like to make a closing answer to my questions thus far.
What was the question?
Well,
Sebastian, with the indulgence of Senator Risa, we have
Yes,
a
Mr.
copy
Chair.
of your affidavit
Yes, Your Honor.
dated today, August 22. Kanina lang bang umaga yan?
21, Your Honor.
22. 22 ka nag-out dun sa notaryo. So, saan ka nakakita ng notaryo kanina bago pumunta
Hindi.
rito? O, pinost date na lang, dahil linggo.
Oh, Your Honor. I think it was submitted yesterday, Your Honor.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, since the USEC would not wish to reply to my last questions, then I'll just make a final manifestation dito po sa line of questioning ko. So far, dahil nga po yung karamihan ng mga tanong ko ay para sana kay ES. Sa susunod na hearing na itatakda ng chair kung kailan nila imbitahin si ES, magtatanong po ako tungkol sa SRA not being the agency with inspection and visitorial powers to pursue smugglers and hoarders. Pangalawa po, mga tanong tungkol sa parang kulang na kulang ang intel ng Malacanang sa mga isinagawang raids. Pangatlo, doing a fast forward, ano yung magiging epekto nitong aktual na epekto nitong mga raids sa presyo ng asukal kung talagang maibababa sa at least 70 pesos per kilo at kung paano kung may mahanap na smuggle that hino-hoard pero konti lang pala, again, anong overall na impact nito sa presyo. And lastly, Mr. Chair, on yung epekto nitong lahat sa ating mga sugar planters, lalo na po yung mga maliliit. Binalita po kasi ng isang mayor sa ANC na 13 sa 26 na barangay nila ay tumigil na sa pagtatanim ng tubo, nag-shift na po sa palay. So one thing so far, at least to this representation, Mr. Chair, is clear, while we certainly need to have cheap sugar, it should not be at the expense of our farmers. I reiterate my call na bigyan ng agarang ayuda ang magsasaka, lalo pa sumirit pataas ang presyo ng urea. So our producers need all the help they can get, all sizes of producers, Mr. Chair, at lalong-lalo na po yung mga maliliit. So for now, Mr. Chair, I will suspend
Thank you,
my
Senator Alderosa.
questioning.
Thank you.
Salamat po, Mr. Chair.
Next to propound a question or questions would be Senator Estrada. Thereafter, it will be the turn of Senator Rafi Tulfo. And after the questioning of Senator Tulfo, we will suspend. This committee will suspend for 10 minutes to give way to pave the way for the reorganization of the Commission on Appointments. Thereafter, we will be reconvening, hopefully with the presence of former Administrator Serafica. So in the meantime, you can have your lunch break during that interim period. Senator Estrada, you're recognized for your 5 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, Senator Revilla here.
Senator Revilla, you have an interjection?
Yes. Yeah, just one question. When will be my turn? Aabot pa ba o wala na?
Aabot po yan. Aabot po yan. Tatapusin lang namin yung physically present and then kayo na po yung unless Senator Estrada would like to give way to have you ask questions now.
No. Go ahead. No problem. Go
Senator
ahead.
Revilla, I will give you 3 minutes of my time. I'm just
No more.
going to ask one or two
Just wait
questions.
for my turn. Thank you very much, Senator Estrada.
Kundi bukas ka pa.
Gentlemen.
Senator Estrada, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Sebastian, if I ask you direct questions, can you answer me directly?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, this is answerable by yes or no. Was there really a shortage of sugar?
Yes, Your Honor.
What data or formula were used to arrive at the 300 metric tons allocation?
We have the computation, Your Honor, but to come up with 300,000, there was also a stakeholder consultation because if you look at the total deficit, Your Honor, it's actually bigger, but you cannot import all of that. Otherwise, we will have oversupply, Your Honor.
The Senate President has shown videos and photos of the warehouses of sugar here in Metro Manila and in the provinces. Hindi pa ba sapat yun?
Your Honor, as I have mentioned a while ago, we need about 170,000 metric tons, Your Honor, 170,000 metric tons of raw sugar every month, and 85,000 metric tons of refined sugar every month, Your Honor.
Every month?
Every month. So if you have 123,000, or let's just make it 186,000 metric tons that arrive under SO3, that can only last for how many months, Your Honor? And that is the one that was imported is for industrial use, not for home consumption, Your Honor.
So in sugar order number 3, was this already implemented? The importation?
Your Honor, if I may, it is implemented and it is ongoing, in fact, Your Honor.
Excuse me?
It is ongoing.
Ongoing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Sebastian, you haven't answered the question of the Senate President. Sino ba nag-udyok sa inyo? Pumirma? Or did you decide on your own?
Your Honor, there was as I've been emphasizing, there was an urgency of the situation that we are
How
having.
can there be an urgency if you have seen the photos and the videos of the warehouses? And daming asukal.
Your Honor, we are talking about the months of October, September and October when we have a big deficit for brown sugar, yung parang pang-banana Q, and then we have a big deficit for refined sugar up to December, Your Honor. And we are talking about how many months, Your Honor?
In sugar order number 4, section 2, why do you allow the assignment of sugar allocation from one qualified applicant to another?
Can you repeat the question, Your Honor?
In sugar order number 4, section 2, why do you allow the assignment of sugar allocation from one qualified applicant to another?
I am not familiar with the detail of that, Your Honor. Maybe we can ask.
Pumirma ka
Administrator-
rito, hindi ka pamilyar. Do you have a copy of the order that you signed?
So the question of Senator Estrada is why are you allowing the assignment of import allocation to another qualified applicant, which is part of your section 2, SO number 4. And try to recall if it is likewise part of SO number 3. You have lawyers here. I think the SRA legal department is here. Di ba makatulong sa'yo?
Yeah, maybe we can ask our legal department, SRA, Your Honor.
Good morning, Your
I
Honor.
will be the one to ask, not you. What's your name? Attorney
Ronald Rimando, Your Honor.
Attorney Rimando, you're under oath. Bakit, tinatanong ni Senator Estrada with his permission, bakit pwedeng i-assign yung sa ibang tao yung allocation?
Number one, Your Honor, it is allowed in the SO4 that the assignment of import allocation is allowed.
Nga ba, why? What's the rationale for this? Yun ang tanong ni Senator Estrada.
If say the would-be importer, for whatever reasons, could not do the importation, then he may assign the allocation to another qualified
Qualified member of the
participant, Your
cartel.
Honor.
Paano?
The assignment is allowed, Your Honor, if the assignee is another qualified, is a qualified trader, Your Honor.
Don't you think that is prone to abuses?
I don't think so, Your Honor, because it will still pass through the SRA, Your Honor. The papers and other requirements will pass through the SRA. So there's always a check and balance, Your
May I
Honor.
know what is the reason behind it? Ba't kailangan ipasa pa sa ibang qualified applicants?
Well, the tenor of the SO4 allowing the assignment, Your Honor, is not mandatory.
What do you mean it is not mandatory?
The subject provision, Your Honor, says a qualified participant may assign its import allocation. So it's up to him, Your Honor, whether to assign the import allocation or not. If for whatever reason, say, he could not do the importation because of logistics reason, Your Honor.
So, ang tanong ni Senator Estrada, at yun din, attorney, anong dahilan nito? Kasi tinitingnan ko yung SO number 3. Parang hindi ko nakikita sa SO number 3 yung assign. At hindi ko rin nakikita sa SO number 3 yung, hindi ko nakikita sa SO number 4 yung nakalagay sa SO number 3 yung payment of performance bond. Meron sa SO3, wala sa SO4. So, bakit may mga pagkakaibang ganito? Magkakaiba ba yung shortage? Yun siguro ang gist ng tanong ni Senator Estrada. You answer that, or do you want additional time? You compare SO3 with SO4. I'm sure you've been with the legal department for quite a long period of time and you've been preparing this. So, tanong niya, bakit allowable yung assignment? Yung dinagdag kong tanong, was it also part of SO3? Meaning to say, has this been part of a tradition, a long-standing practice? Tinanong ko rin, why was performance bond not present in SO4 when it is present in SO3? So, if you need more time to answer, the committee will give you time to recollect and refresh your memory, unless Senator Estrada has further questions.
I can answer it now, Your Honors. Well, the performance bond is present in the SO3, while in the SO4, in being assailed, Your Honor, is not present. And the absence of that performance bond in SO4, that I could not answer, Your Honor, because I really do not have any personal knowledge or any participation in the SO4, Your Honor, Your Honors.
Thank you. Senator Estrada is excusing himself for a while, so he will continue that line of questioning when it returns. So we can now have Senator Rafi Tulfo before we suspend. Senator Tulfo, you're
Thank you.
recognized. You have your 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. From where I'm sitting, I can see very clearly that Yusek Sebastian is very stressed out. And I don't want to add further to his anxiety by asking hard questions just like my colleagues did. So is it possible, Mr. Chair, if there are people from the Bureau of Customs who are around, and I would rather direct my questions to them because I don't want them to get off the hook, because the Senate President a while ago did say na wala pa raw nakakasuhan sa smuggling ng sugar. So therefore, gusto ko magbato ng katanungan sa kanila tungkol doon sa sinabi ni SP. Are there
That's
people
a
present
relevant
from the Bureau
question,
of Customs?
Senator Tulfo. May we ask the committee secretariat, are there resource persons from the Bureau of Customs now?
No, Your Honor, none present yet.
Okay.
Were they invited?
No. I mean, they can be invited to the next hearing, Your Honor,
For
but
the
but
next
they're not
hearing.
present today. Neither were they invited.
Senator Tulfo, they're not
Okay.
around.
Well, then I have to ask you a question and maybe make a request, Yusek Sebastian. Sorry, you're going to be off. You're not going to like my question, my direct question. To me, you seem to be a very smart guy, tama? So many people vouch for your character. Marami ako narinig about you, even from SB, Mig Subiri. And I was told na ikaw ay galing sa abroad. At nakapag-aral ho ba kayo sa abroad?
Yes, Your Honor. As a scholar, Your Honor.
Scholar. Okay. Ano pong tinapos niyo po, sir?
I got my PhD from Cornell University, Your Honor.
Wow, PhD, Cornell University sa abroad. Okay. So that means you're a very, very smart guy, right? So if you're a smart guy, if I were you, I think it's better, it's high time na sabihin mo na sa amin dito, wag na tayo magpaikot-ikot pa, kung sino yung mga nasa likod mo. Kasi nga po, sir, hindi ka naman po pipirma sa ibabaw ng pangalan ng Pangulo ng Republika ng Pilipinas, sa ibabaw ng kanyang pangalan, kung wala pong may utos sa inyo, kung wala pong nasa likod nyo na malalakas ng mga tao. I think you're just trying to cover up something here. Get the monkey off your back. I think it's about time that you have to confess. I mean, because you're a smart guy, right? Cornell University, PhD, or you're just trying to outsmart us. That's why you don't want to tell us kung sino po yung mga nag-utos sa'yo.
No, Your Honor, there was nobody who forced me or pressured me on this matter, Your Honor.
Yung
We have-
panghupag sa sign sa ibabaw ng apelyido ng presidente, sa pangalan ng presidente, yung ba'y gawain ng isang scholar at may PhD sa Cornell University?
No, Your Honor, I signed for the Secretary of Agriculture based on the authority that was given to me on July 15, 2022.
Who
Your
gave you
Honor.
the authority, sir?
The authority was, the memo was issued by the Executive Secretary by authority of the President, Your Honor.
Okay, but did you ask the executive secretary about that memo to make sure that you can sign on his behalf sa ibabaw pa man din ng kanyang pangalan? Presidente po ang pinag-usapan natin po, hindi po yung ordinaryong kawani ng gobyerno. So-
The memo, Your Honor, states that I can sit as ex officio chair of boards, committees, etc., of any government agency where the Secretary of Agriculture is a member, Your Honor. And the SRA board is one of those boards where the Secretary of Agriculture sits as ex officio, Your Honor. So since the Secretary is the member and I am representing him more or less, I signed for the Secretary of Agriculture, who is the President of the Republic, Your Honor.
For the Secretary of Agriculture, right? That's what you're saying, but you signed above the name of President Bongbong Marcos.
Yes, with an initial 4, Your Honor.
That's why I'm going back to what I said earlier. Is that an act of a very smart person? Because hanga po ako sa inyo, yung credentials niyo po, napaka-impeccable. Okay, di po ba? Now, kung smart po kayo, hindi niyo po gagawin yon. Ang magagawa lang noon, yung pipirma po sa ibabaw ng pangalan ng presidente ay people who are dumb or stupid. And you're not stupid, right? I don't think so. You don't look like stupid to me. You look like a very smart guy. Kaya lang, ayaw mo lang magsalita kasi nga, meron kang pinagtatapang mga grupo o tao. I think yun po observations ko.
Wala ho, Your Honor.
Nakikita ko po yung paa niyo pag ganun-ganun na po, ninervous ka. Sige na po, hindi ko na po dadagdagan yung anxiety ninyo. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sana po, Mr. Chair, sa next hearing, ma-invite po natin yung mga taga Bureau of Customs. Kasi nga po, Mr. Chair, nakikita ko po, yung mga taga Bureau of Customs, they're very relentless in the fight against smuggling sa sugar and all. And I have to commend them for that. On the other hand, ang tanong, bakit nakalabas yung mga asukal na yon? Yung mga hoarding na tinatawag nila, nakalabas ng pier. Sana, hindi na nakalabas yung ginagawa lang sana ng customs, yung kanilang trabaho. Diba? And then from what I've heard, itong pinaka-latest, yung sugar sa Subic, ay meron palang permit yun. Mr. Chairman, Your Honor. So dito sumablay ang mga taga Bureau of Customs. Ano bang pangalan nitong Commissioner ng Customs? This guy, he opens his mouth before he would even look at the documents available. He could have asked people in his office mag-provide ng E2M documents from their system para masiguro niya na kung legit ba o hindi yung mga produktong i-rate nila. I think what he did, this guy from Bureau of Customs, para ma-divert yung attention natin. Meron kasi tayong serious attention. Ito na nga yung SO4. Ngayon, para ma-divert yung attention natin, rate sila left and right, bahala na ang Diyos. Para yung ating attention ay mapunta doon sa smuggling versus doon sa SO4 na sino nag-utos kay Yusek Sebastian pumirma. So I would appreciate it really, Mr. Chair, if we could invite a member of the Bureau of Customs, especially this guy, the commissioner, I forgot his name. I would really like to talk to him kasi mukhang mahilig itong magpadalos-dalos. And again, there's nothing wrong na mag-grade siya na mag-grade. Go ahead. Pero dapat pag nag-grade siya, tinatansya niya muna at alam niya yung ginagawa para wala naman maabala mga tao, walang napapahiya. Yun na po, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Tulfo. You consume 5 minutes and 15 seconds. So, still within the threshold. As agreed upon, and with the indulgence of our other colleague here, Senator Robin Padilla, this committee will suspend for 10 minutes to pave the way for the reorganization of the Commission on Appointments. In the meantime, you can have your lunch given to you while we also await the arrival of former Administrator Serafica. So without objection, The Senate Blue Ribbon Committee is hereby suspended.